we've been kind of chasing this rabbit on the Passover week.
We kind of was kind of trying to jump ahead and find Wednesday and Thursday. Well, we never found no Wednesday and the transition, but we found the Thursday, and the way the Thursday transition, when we get to it, we'll read that Jesus ate with the disciples on Thursday night and was crucified Friday morning.
Yeah.
Of course, they had to get him down before Friday night because the regular Sabbath was fixing to happen.
Yeah.
But if you do the time, Friday to Saturday is 24 hours, and Saturday to Sunday would have been 20. They'd only have him in the grave half the time.
Yeah.
Only one night.
True. But we'll
Two nights. But he'd been in the grave 2 nights and not even 2 full days.
True.
So
I mean, it's interesting. Also, you got me thinking about the fig tree.
Yeah, me too.
I think I'm right on that, though. I think I'm right. But that's not what we're talking about tonight.
No.
Well, in this session.
But
it is interesting. It is interesting.
We'll
come back to it.
We are actually, I think up to now we are okay with being in Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. This is.
I think this is.
Remember, we decided that this was lunchtime.
Well, from what we're probably going to gather is from now until Jesus does eat the Passover with the disciples, you're looking at the rest of the day Tuesday and into Wednesday evening. I think that's what you're going to be looking at, because Jesus is going to give you a lot of information here in this next day and a half. So actually Tuesday's going to run into Wednesday, but I don't think you'll find Jesus going back to Bethany or Simon's house.
Yeah.
I think we may even read it later, where at the end of Tuesday he goes to the Mount of Olives. And I think that's where we get the Olivet Discourse.
Yeah.
During that time.
True. That's coming up. That's coming up too. And it's 40 or 50 pages. But, David, I believe we have a transition.
We are going to talk about questioning Jesus' authority. So it looks like he's going to run into some religious leaders. It says, opposition to Jesus came not from the Jewish people in general, but primarily from their religious leaders and rulers, especially from the high Jewish council, the Sanhedrin. The center of the opposition is located in Jerusalem, and particularly in the temple. So it was in the temple precincts that various opposing factors engaged Jesus in a series of verbal altercations. The gospel writers record a number of these controversies as occurring during Jesus' final week in Jerusalem. The challenges to Jesus appears in a series of rapid-fire encounters during a single day. See Matthew 22-23, which we'll be reading. But they may have taken place over a longer period of time. That's what I was getting at. It started Tuesday and went into Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
Jesus' questioners were those who considered themselves religious: the Pharisees, the Herodians, Sadducees, and scribes. Only Matthew's gospel relates the parable of 2 sons, which condemns the self-righteous attitude of the Jewish leaders. first son in the parable represents those who responded to the preaching of John the Baptist. The second son represents those who claim to be religious but rejected Jesus.
So, David, man, that's a mouthful right there. Kind of a short transition, but there's a lot of truth to that. You know, the religious people, even today, they'll kill you. Don't believe me? They hung Jesus on the cross, right?
Well, the only ones, the religious ones I'd be scared of is the Islams and ISIS and people like that. I want you to renounce Christianity.
Yeah, true.
And you can be persecuted by your own denomination.
It happens every day.
If you don't keep.
Hence why I'm here and not up yonder, but that's a different story.
You're not going by the rules, more or less.
Yeah.
And it don't have to be religious rules. It may be bylaw rules.
Bylaw, yeah. True. Okay. By what authority? And what authority it is. You know, I had to always go back to musicians, but whenever you look at someone that can play jazz, you think, well...
When I think of jazz, I think of the horn.
The horn, yeah. When you're backing up and thinking, well, how in the world do they do that? Because for someone that knows and has studied music theory for how long? 15 years? You know, it's like, again, and also everything's in a circle, right? You got the circle of fifths, right? Which is your basic circle, which is trying to super duper condense it so that you might can understand. It's basically the makeup of a song. Like if you're in the key of G, you're playing G, C, and D for the major, E, A, and D minor for the minors.
Yeah, but jazz usually is a song for the blues.
Right.
So it's more or less feeling is what drives
right
people in certain to do certain. So you got classical music like Beethoven.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
Mozart.
Yeah.
People are those that are interested in that area flock to that area and they learn that area.
Right.
Just like in jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Country western music. It's just doing certain things with your instruments that you wouldn't do in rock and roll.
Yeah.
So it depends on your preference.
Mm-hmm.
And your preference is the Eagles.
Yeah. Hey, easy now, so we don't get a copyright on this.
So you follow in line, kind of like rock and roll ballads.
Yeah.
In that sense.
All the way.
In that sense, yeah. So,
man, once you watch these people, talented people, but if you know what you're doing, I mean, it's not. Some people, it's like, oh, well, that's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like.
Well,
because I know what they're doing, you know.
Yeah.
The Eagles, you know, take it easy. All they're doing is that, you know what? How do we get up on that? Okay. Oh yeah. The circle of fifths. You see, everything is all going to end or begin and end with a circle. If we look at Jesus' life on this chart, you got, we know the whole story of Jesus, right? Which is what? He was born of a virgin, lived a perfect life, and died for our sins. And third day he rose, right?
Started a movement.
So we can see all of Jesus' life right here. We know it, which we studied it. I studied it all my life. You might not have.
No.
But, consider Daniel. We know Daniel's story, so, but at the same time, which Jesus, being the Son of God, knowing everything, he knew what was going on. But the disciples at the time, they had no idea what was going on. Like Peter, when he saw Jesus, he didn't know he was about to walk on water. It's pretty cool to think about. But so Jesus created a world, right? And he destroyed the world with the local flood. I did that for you, so we don't have any arguments there. And then Jesus, you see, now right here where we're at, where Jesus comes back in any minute, well, eventually, now 6 million years from now, that circle we're talking about is going to be complete. That circle is not complete yet because we're still here in our time zone. That's what I was getting at.
Well, all you're describing is.
Well, technically, hold on, hold that thought. When Jesus said it is finished, that's when. You see, there's so many principles in this book that we have to, which we rewrite over. You do it, I do it, everybody does it. But it's like when Jesus said it is finished, where did that start? That started a whole new era of what people
He was
moving forward sees, right?
Yeah.
If you have a wedding ring, that ring.
But the one who lived in the past was completed for them too.
Yeah, that ring symbolizes eternity.
Yeah.
The infinity symbol.
Why don't you just tell them that?
Here we go.
It started in eternity, and we're going to end up in eternity.
There you go.
You're kind of stretching it.
Well, yeah. Well,
you're not making it simple enough.
How can you make eternity simple?
You start with God in eternity, and you're going to end up with God in eternity.
Yep.
But whatever happens in between,
perfect,
is what's going to end up with Him.
So this is eternity past. This is eternity future. The entire circle will be complete, which reminds me of a song in itself, but for copyright.
Are you talking about that gospel song?
Which one?
When the circle won't be broken.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway.
All right, Dave, get on the scripture here.
Okay.
We're talking about Jesus' authority now.
Yep. By what authority?
Who's asking him this question?
Let's see what we got here. So we got Matthew chapter 21, if you're following along with us. Starting in verse 23 to 22. What?
32.
32.
I'm not that blind.
I'm beginning to wonder, David.
Where's your glasses? Do you need glasses?
We need to mention the flood again. We need to mention.
No, let's get back to this.
I named them Rudolph and Harold.
Harold.
Yep.
I thought you was going to Christmas with that.
Oh, well. Anyway.
Rudolph.
Hey, Rudolph can be a. Anyway.
You know the first thing that comes to people's minds is a reindeer.
Oh, yeah,
You need to rename
it. Yeah, okay.
it. Pete and repeat.
Peter repeat, yeah. Okay, Matthew 21, verse 23. Now, through 32. 32? Yeah, 32. Man, I might need glasses. You never know. So, now when he came into the temple, the chief priests and the elders of the people confirmed him as he was teaching and said, "By what authority are you doing these things? And who gave you this authority?" But Jesus answered and said to them, "I also will ask you one thing, which if you tell me, I likewise will tell you." There's your "I told you," right, David?
Kinda.
Yeah, by what authority I do these things.
He's making a swap with him here.
Yeah. Let's see. The baptism of John, where was it from? From heaven or from men? And they responded, and they reasoned among themselves, saying, "If we say from heaven, he will say to us, why then did you not believe him? But if we say from men, we fear the multitude, for all count John as a prophet." So they answered Jesus and said, "We do not know." And he said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things." But what do you think? A man who had two sons, and he came to the first and said, "Son, go work today in my vineyard." He answered and said, "I will not." But afterward he regretted it and went. And he answered and said, I go, sir." But he did not go. Which of the two did the will of his father? Did you have something to say?
Mm.
I thought you had a little nugget there.
I said what you was doing.
Yeah, they said to him, the first, and Jesus said to them, "Assuredly, I say to you, the tax collectors and the harlots enter the kingdom of God before you, because John came to you in the way of righteousness, and you did not believe him. But tax collectors and harlots believed him. And when you saw it, you did not afterward relent and believe him." It's interesting to think about. There's going to be a lot of people up in heaven that they're going to be like, "Really? What are you doing here?" That's around about what Jesus is saying to them, right, David? Tax collectors, you see, they think that the harlots and the tax collectors, they're the sinners, right? But whenever they came to Jesus and said, "Look, here I am. I'm a sinner. What did Jesus say? Take up your cross and follow me," and so on. Let's see. You got Matthew 11:27. Mark 11:27.
So he's comparing the harlot and tax collector. Okay, I see
only they're going to be harlots and tax collectors up in heaven, there's also going to be people that have done some pretty bad things. You know, I've heard rumors that Jeffrey Dahmer got saved before he died.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's true.
But if he did, what?
He's forgiven. But there still has got to be consequences for your actions here on earth.
Wasn't he executed?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, if he was executed, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, he.
It's like my granddad said.
He still might be alive. I don't know. I just heard that, but I do find it interesting that he did get saved, and you know, once he gets saved.
My papa said one time, he'd rather be the man that committed the murder than to be the victim. The reason why is that the one who committed the murder still has a chance to be saved.
True.
If the victim wasn't saved,
yeah,
he has no chance of salvation.
That's true.
So now we go on down to Mark chapter 11.
Mark chapter 11.
27 to 33. Jesus is challenged. Should be about the same story. Then they came again to Jerusalem, and as he was walking in the temple, the chief priests, the scribes, and the elders came to him, and they said to him, "By what authority are you doing these things? And who gave you the authority to do these things?" But Jesus answered and said to them, I also will ask you one question, and then answer me, and I will tell you by what authority I do these things. The baptism of John, was it from heaven or from men? Answer me. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, if we say from heaven, he will say, why then did you not believe him? But if we say from men, they feared the people, for all counted John to have been a prophet indeed. So they answered him and said to Jesus, we do not know. And Jesus answered and said to them, Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things. No parable from him.
Now, you know, someone used to ask the question, you know, how can you fit an infinite God in a limited brain? Right?
If you fit God into a brain, it won't be limited.
Well, yeah, but if you could, oh wow, oh that's deep. Well, I mean, yeah,
it would be.
Yeah.
You know, they say we only use 10% of our brain anyway.
Right.
If that's the case, we'd be using 100% of our brain.
True.
So that's what Jesus would be doing, is using 100% of his brain.
Well, that's true. That's true, yeah. Let's see.
You gonna get to Luke?
I got Luke. You think we can make it?
Oh yeah.
By 9?
Well, it'd be a little after.
Okay.
All that first one really got to us. I mean, it was short, but we made it long.
But God's word is so amazing, though.
That part we did.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get home and talk to Margaret about it.
Hey, key her up. Anyway, Luke chapter 20, verse 1. Now it happened, one of those on one of those days, as he taught the people in the temple and preached the gospel, that the chief priests and the scribes, together with the elders, confronted him and spoke to him, saying, "Tell us, by what authority are you doing these things? Or who is he who gave you this authority?" But he answered and said to them, "I will ask you one thing, and answer me. The baptism of John, was it from heaven or from men?" And they responded among themselves, saying, "If we say from heaven, he will say, why then did you not believe him? But if we say from men, all the people will stone us, so for they are persuaded that John was a prophet." So they answered that they did not know where it was from. And Jesus said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things." I find it interesting that it's kind of like, if I were, which Jesus has got to be thinking, why are you challenging me? Because you got to think, and these people...
He's putting them in a position to where he's trying to get out of a position to where that they may stone him at that very moment if he says his authority is from God.
Yeah, well,
Then they...
Jesus wasn't nervous.
Well, this is how he gets out of getting stoned.
David, remember, Jesus knows that that's not how he dies.
I know.
He
knows he's got to shed blood. He can't die this way.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what he says. It's
well,
not
that's what I'm saying.
Happen.
He's getting out of the position of being stoned. Yeah. Because if he gets stoned, he cannot be. The sins cannot be judged on him.
Right.
Because they had picked up rocks and stoned him right then.
Right.
He's got to go through the process of having sins being judged through him.
True.
So he's really putting it off.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna give me today. This ain't right. This ain't the time.
Yeah.
But he goes. As you read in Matthew about the two sons, mm-hmm. he is aggravating them by
playing with them,
by telling them that sinners and tax collectors and harlots are going to get to heaven before they do.
Yeah, yeah.
So even in Matthew's account, he's irritated them.
Yeah.
By saying that.
True.
So that makes it even deeper for a plot to kill him.
Yeah, yeah.
In Matthew.
That's fair. That's true. A little shorter one than the last one. Even though there's a lot more we could get into.
And we're getting close to the discourse.
Yep, and that's David's favorite right there. My favorite too.
Yeah.
Because that's what
I want to do.
That's what this is all about right here.
What I want to do is get out my old commentary that my grandmother had.
Yeah.
And see what it says.
Everybody, I might need to bring a sack lunch for that one. Or a sack dinner.
Yeah, we may have to do two or three parts on that one.
Yeah.
I'll have to see what it says.
Mm-hmm.
I think I looked that up once before in that book, and I think it tells you in Matthew and Luke to refer back to Mark's commentaries in that book that come, because this the first printing of this commentary was in 1871, and it's not American commentary. It's English and I think English and Scottish commentary.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
So you're getting into a discourse where the futurist view has not really got a foothold in America. That's what I told the girl the funeral I went to yesterday about that the futurist view is not taught in America until after the Civil War. So you got from 1492 after the 1865 that the pre-trib was not being taught in America. So if they were believing anything, they weren't believing in a 7-year tribulation.
But that'll be for in about a year from now. The rate we're going.
Oh, we might get there.
Oh yeah, we'll be there.
A lot of things have been going on during this summer,
Yeah.
and like sometimes we do these twice a week. Sometimes we throw in the song titles.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We do that.
Song and don't forget movie titles. We
Cause
do that too.
like our birthday was bubble about tomorrow night, because
Oh yeah.
our joy group at our church is having our potluck supper. So we usually we've been doing this on a Tuesday night. We've been doing it now. We've been doing it on a Monday night, and then he's been coming to do our impact study on Tuesday night. But the last couple of weeks we've been doing Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah.
So,
But Friday I'll be going over there to your house.
yeah, because you can't come tomorrow night.
Yep. They ran me off.
He can come to our joy group meeting.
Yep. What does joy group mean?
Just older youth.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but we'll take 30 years old.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, David.
So anybody can come.
Yeah.
Just, we usually have a guest speaker or something like that. We're gonna have a church member give his testimony.
Oh, nice.
I think from what I've heard him speak, he used to be a Mormon at one time.
Oh, Jeff. Is it Jeff?
Mhm.
Haynes? Yeah. But anyway, we'll do it again. See if we can get the professor to come on for Saturday or Sunday.
No weekends.
See the weekends.
Those 2 days are my Sabbaths.
And I agree with them.